Hey everyone, this is Scoop's Color Lab. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to be doing a reverse style clink pattern with a scrunch. And we're going to start with a completely dry and clean and turned inside out shirt. We're not going to soak this in soda ash since we're doing reverse dyeing. And I'm going to start with a yardstick, just putting a straight line down where I want that clink pattern to be. And I'm going to do just on the side of the shirt today. And I'm measuring out about, I've decided on this one, 2.5 inches per clink here. And so I'm just measuring that down the shirt. And I like to make these kind of long lines because you're going to want to see that line on both sides of this vertical line. And you can use that yardstick to kind of just help you flip that over on the line. Now I've kind of noticed here that my first measurement is a bit short, so I'm just moving all of my lines down by 1/2 inch, and I'm using a red marker this time so that I can tell the difference between my first and second lines. Now here we're going to start folding the clink, and you're going to grab up your first pleat, hold your finger down on the second line, and pull that fabric up to the next line. It's essentially just like doing a large pleat, a 2.5 inch long pleat. I'm just kind of trying to keep everything nice and clean on the right side, although that we're going to be doing something else with in a little bit. But I just kind of hold my finger down there on the bottom part of the fabric and then pull the fabric up over the top and to meet it with the next line. And it gets pretty easy once you start doing it yourself. And here you're just gonna kind of check your lines. You're gonna check that vertical line, you can see that, and all my red lines, I wanna see those as well. Now what we're gonna do here is we're gonna start pushing back one layer of the fabric to form from a square into a triangle. Now this top one can be a little tricky because the fabric on top can lay a little funky depending on where you're putting it on your shirt. So just kind of mess with that until it lays nicely or in a way that is okay with you. And you're just gonna hold that while you kind of pick up the next bottom left corner and push that to the top right back corner to create that triangle from the square. And you're gonna keep just moving it down the line. Make sure as you're going that you're keeping your corners kind of nice and tidy. That is the inside square of the clink. So if you're gonna have a more detailed pattern like I wanna have in the end, you definitely wanna make sure that these lines are pretty even and that your corners look pretty tidy. And here I'm just looking at it again, making sure everything looks good. Wrapping it up with a rubber band. And I notice here that the corners are a bit clunky on the end, and I don't like that too much. So I'm going to use the end of this clip right here to just kind of push that fabric in and get those corners to a nice point, because that's really gonna create the pattern for us. This is really where you want to put the most effort in, is when you're doing the tying and the folding, because that's really where the payout is. You only have so much control over the dye once the ice hits it, but the pattern is where you're gonna have your control. That being said, I'm also not a perfectionist, or trying not to be, so just have fun with it. That's what I like to do. Don't stress yourself out. Here I'm doing a little sinew, although normally you can just do this with rubber bands. I decided to put some sinew on it because I'm going to throw it into a bucket with water and some whiteout to get the color out of the shirt. And then we're going to do the soda ash solution on it. So I just want it to stay nice and sturdy while we're doing all that. But I also don't want the sinew to affect the pattern too much. So I'm trying to pull it tight, but not too tight. And I don't really like the first one, so I'm kind of undoing it and redoing it a little bit, just fussing with it until it feels good to me. And I'm using one tight, small little hair rubber band. Those ones are really nice for these tighter types of spots. Now, I'm one of those people that will use any object around me to trace shapes, and my water bottle tends to be a great size circle that I like, and so I use that a lot to trace my circles, and we're doing circles on the 2 sleeves today. So we got the 1 circle, going for the second one here. And I do my circles a little different when I'm tying them up. I do it pretty quick and easy. My method is I just grab at the center of the circle, pinch, and pull up. And I just kind of check that the lines are matching up on both sides. And if they are, I go ahead and wrap it up right there, nice and quick. I don't even bother with doing all the scrunching and all that. For the circles, this really works well for me, and I do a lot of circles because I really like them. Circles call to me, and so this is a nice quick method that I like. So just pinch from the center, pull up, check your lines, and go ahead and wrap around the line. Now on this one, I've decided I want some more intricacy inside that circle, so I'm gonna keep wrapping the sinew around the fabric inside that circle, and that's gonna create sort of this, what I call like lightning ball effect. Here I'm kind of looking at the Klink again, noticing the sinews kind of unraveling a bit. I'm not liking that, so thinking maybe some rubber bands over it. Still not loving how that looks. So I kind of just decide, you know what, like, let's just do it with rubber bands the way that it's normally done. So chop off that sinew, go ahead and just do it nice and tight with rubber bands. Because usually that's the way that, you know, you see it tied up anyway with the Klink. And here on the end of these Klink is where the hair rubber bands, the small ones, really come in handy, because those are just such a good small shape. Those really hold those detailed areas together nicely. So I like those a lot. And just kind of fussing with that, getting that all nice and tied up. And now we're going to finish it off with a scrunch. Scrunch that up, get some rubber bands around that. So next thing that's coming up here is we're going to be preparing some boiling water, and we're going to be getting out our Out White Bright. Now we're going to be using that instead of bleach today because it removes the dye from most fabrics without deteriorating the fabric like bleach does. And also it doesn't have to be neutralized the way that bleach does. So it saves you money, it saves you time, it saves you a step. In general, I'm a fan of the Out White Bright over doing the bleach, but it doesn't work on everything, so sometimes you gotta kind of test it out. And it looks like we're ready to go here. And I like to do multiple projects at once with the Out White Bright, and you're definitely gonna want to do this outside. I've been playing around with the least amount of this that I can use because it's a very strong smell. A third cup, a heaping third cup is what I've got here. I might try a quarter cup next time. Definitely wear your mask, your ventilator, your respirator for this, even outside. It is a very strong smell. It'll get in your throat and the back of your nose. And then you're just gonna go over it with your boiling water, and you can see the chemical reaction start right away, and the clothes start to change immediately. I love all the little bubbles start to go. And I just kind of stir them up, move them around, make sure everything's submerged, getting completely soaked in that water, and just kind of leave it there for until it's the color you like, but 20 minutes is really all you need. And from here, you're gonna soak that in your soda ash solution. So once that's soaked and you've squeezed that out, got most of the liquid out of that, gonna go ahead and finally start with some dyeing. Now on this one, I'm using the silicone cake molds, like Belladonna dyes, and these I just got on Amazon. Real simple, easy to find. These are great because they mold to any shape, so you can use them on any project, and it just saves you time versus like cutting up a bunch of cardboard or something else like that. Here I'm making the back a little bit taller, a little bit sturdier so that it can hold more ice. I'm going to be doing dye over the ice on this one. And you can see magically I'm also working on another project in the back. I'm always doing multiple projects at once because that just makes sense to me. Here I am finishing off this bottle of dye, which is why it's coming right out of the can. And this is the blue-gray color from Dharma Trading. I love this color. It has gorgeous splits of exactly what it sounds. It's a beautiful light blue color with a sort of light charcoal gray. It's a gorgeous color, especially when it splits over the ice. So we're gonna go in with a little soda ash over the top, and we are going to wait for all of that to magically melt. Boop. And you can see there we've got the blue-gray dye on the shirt, and I'm just gonna flip that over so that I can work on the Klink pattern a little bit here. And you can see I've put some powdered dye on a paper towel. That's the color maroon, and I am just patting that onto the wet shirt with my finger. And as I'm touching the wet shirt, it's moistening my fingertip, allowing me to pick up the powder and press that onto the shirt. Now I'm doing this so that I can have a nice, really detailed look on the Klink. So you can see the really individual colors and shapes of the pattern. And going in with just a little bit of ice, because it really doesn't need very much, because it's very little powder to start with. And just letting that melt a little bit. Oh, I can't forget my soda ash, of course. Come back and drop a little bit of that on. And then I'm gonna flip it over, same thing on the other side. I'm gonna make sure that this color looks nice and saturated all around the outside of the Klink. This is kind of my powdered version of the liquid version I saw Mr. Tie-Dye doing, where you would dip your foam brush into black liquid tie-dye and brush that on. Instead, I'm just using my finger to brush on powdered dye of my choice. Here, of course, maroon with the blue-gray, and I think these colors are gonna be gorgeous together. And so just putting a little ice barrier up again, a couple more ice cubes, and a little more soda ash just for good measure. Really never too much soda ash. You can do too much soda ash, but it's important, so you might as well. And now the fun part, the washout. Now we're gonna immediately start to see what kind of fun splits we've got on the inside of this scrunch. You can see the bright blues, the darker charcoal grays. We're gonna unwrap one of these circles on the sleeve. Oh, that looks great. Go ahead and find the other sleeve. Unwrap that circle. I'm not sure if some maroon got down to that or if that was just the color that the whiteout made with the shirt under the sinew, but I love how it has a little red in that circle. And here we're gonna do the Klink. Wow, gorgeous. Every time, this is my favorite moment. It never gets old, folks. Look at that. Stunning. I love this shirt. I love it. So you can see how I really got a lot of definition in that Klink pattern by just applying that dye directly with my finger. And here we're just gonna let it soak in hot water until all that dye rinses out as many times as you need to. And from there, you're gonna put it in your washing machine on a hot cycle with your Dharma's Dyer's detergent, which will remove any excess dye out of the shirt. And the final product. I think this is stunning. I'm obsessed with this shirt. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, everyone. Tune back in for more Scoops Color Lab.